I just saw that question about Jon Gruden. I don't know. I just heard like on a group text message. I'd seen that pop up not too long ago, a couple hours ago, and I just kind of chuckled at that one too.
Yeah, no doubt he can coach. He can coach. He's kind of damaged goods. I don't know if anybody's gonna touch him at this point. It may not be a long time, if ever, that he makes his way back out onto the field. Then you got Jay Gruden.
It's just gonna be interesting to see all the different names that keep popping up for this.
Oh yeah. And what normally happens
is you can't rule. Seriously, you can't rule any of them out.
You can't.
You know.
The thing that happens though typically is that the media has a short list. They've got a list of guys that, you know, when it was USC and LSU last year, it's got to be James Franklin or Matt Campbell or Luke Fickell. Well, they didn't know that Lincoln Riley was already dealing with USC and that had been going on. And then, of course, Brian Kelly, who expects a coach to leave Notre Dame to go to LSU. So all those names that were the constant talk, those 4 or 5 names, neither one of them turned out to be the destination there. And the same thing here. We've thrown out 20 names and who knows who it could end up being.
Oh, there'll be 20 more on this list by in 2 weeks. So yeah, I mean, that's the interesting thing about all this going on. And I won't brag or anything, but it's really good for our business as well. It gains subscribers because people are interested now in finding out who's going to be the next coach. And it's kind of an exciting time, but unfortunately it's in the middle of the season. But when you think about it, it's not really in the middle of the season because there's still 9 games left. And you know what? Nebraska can still turn it around and have a successful year. So
they've only lost 1 game in the Big Ten.
Right.
So it's only 1 game in the Big Ten. So
if you see a different attitude come out and a different team that, that believes that they can win, you never know what's going to happen. I'm not trying to tell everybody to drink the Kool-Aid and bet on Nebraska on Saturday, but I wouldn't be surprised if they come out and really fight Oklahoma hard.
Well, I won't be either. Not at all. We've seen it before, and Mickey Joseph certainly seems like the type guy that can sell the us against the world mentality to a team.
Absolutely. It's the way he grew up.
Yeah. Josh Heupel, Mike Gundy, Tommy Bowden.
I don't know how well Mike Gundy's mullet would get along here. Probably take a lot of ridicule.
Urban Meyer. Do you think Urban Meyer would consider the job?
That is such an interesting concept to think of.
Yeah, it is.
Exactly. That's exactly what you think. Would Urban Meyer ever even consider this job? I mean, obviously, if he would, that's a slam dunk hire, right? I mean, that probably shakes the college football world if Urban Meyer is the next head coach at Nebraska. But that's the biggest question: is would he ever even want to even have to deal with this? I mean, he's been through this before. He's retired for health reasons before, and he's got a pretty cushy gig what he's doing now, and he makes a lot of money still. So obviously, I don't think it would be for the money if he took this job. He would demand, a top 5 salary, I'm sure. But yeah, why would he ever? Why would he ever consider even having to coach anywhere again? I don't know.
So with Urban Meyer, and there's only a couple guys like this that can pretty much have any job in the country
Right.
And the only ones that he wouldn't get would be if they were turned off by some of the things that he's have been out there in social media and so forth. Obviously, we know what we're talking about, Jacksonville and off the field in the last year or two. Okay, that's the only thing. Otherwise, the guy has the best winning percentage in history. It's he's a great all-time coach. Okay.
Wouldn't that be that would be the shot of a lifetime, for somebody like me if Nebraska versus Ohio State in 2025, and you got Urban Meyer out there talking with Ryan Day in pregame, so they
maybe
got
a
100 cameras surrounding them, shooting the shit,
But my thought here is that Urban Meyer's not like you could throw out tons of other really good coaches, Matt Campbell, some of the guys we're talking about, Luke Fickell, that they're just most likely looking for the next jump.
Right.
From Cincinnati, Iowa State, that are good programs, but are they going to go to one of the top teams in the SEC or the Big Ten, somewhere like that? Well, Urban Meyer, he's done everything. So he's got like kind of a reputation, and I'm talking about on the field, to protect. Like, he's expected to win national championships. Like,
yes.
You would think that he would have to size up a program and say, I can win a national championship here, which Nebraska has everything going for it except one thing, where it's located in terms of players. And I would wonder how he would assess his ability to recruit there.
In my mind, I think he would take on that challenge, and he's got a pretty good track record of recruiting already, no matter where he's been.
Yeah.
And, obviously Nebraska is geographically challenged, but that's never stopped Nebraska. They've always known they have to recruit nationally. That's not a secret. And one of the legendary coaches in college football, Tom Osborne, made a living on that, made a living on the backbone of his team being homegrown Nebraska boys, and then knowing that he had to go scour the country to get those skill position guys that made those Nebraska teams special. And it's no different today. I mean, every coach that's been here knows that they have to recruit nationally, because there's just not that base of players that you can draw from your backyard. And, a lot of times some of the top players, in recent years, some of the top players in the state have gone elsewhere and done very well, places like Iowa City, just, for an example. So, yeah, every coach that even considers this job knows the difficulty in recruiting to somewhere like here. But then you obviously, like we're talking about Urban Meyer, you kind of lump him into that group of coaches that have been successful doing stuff like that. Like I just mentioned Tom Osborne, but you think of like a Bobby Bowden, and not just geographically challenged, but I'm just talking about guys that were really successful and legendary head coaches that and did it for a long time. And Urban Meyer fits that mold, obviously. He's only had one black mark on him, and that's Jacksonville.
Yeah, and some guys are just not cut out for the other level of football, whether that's the NFL or college. And unfortunately for him, it's the most recent. So there might be a few people out there that would be questioning, okay, has he lost his fastball and he's just never going to be the same and not be that guy anymore? Because one of his calling cards was, of course, recruiting. He recruited, top 3 classes at Ohio State and Florida, and that takes a lot of work. That's a grind.
And that's what, that's what people have to understand too. To be a successful college head coach, you have to be a grinder. I mean, you've got to, you spend all your time at the office. You don't have very much family time. I mean, everything goes into coaching your team and recruiting. It's a nonstop cycle. And Urban Meyer's been one of those guys that has always been a grinder. and that's why he's always been successful.